This is episode 72 of the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. In this episode, we're going to dive into the Lifetime Games, which is coming up next weekend. And we're going to get to a lot of listener questions. We had a few back up, so we're going to start answering some of them. And we'll keep answering a few more every episode as we move on. Let's make hybrid fitness work for you. How's it going today, JK?
That was a good one, Anthony. I'm well, thank you. Sorry, I am well. How are you going?
I'm good. I'm doing well. We have a lot to talk about today.
We do indeed.
And you know what? I realized after putting up our last episode, I didn't record an intro to the last one. So it was just like silent music, and then all of a sudden we just started.
And
So people had like 40 seconds of nothing and just like the music playing and then me to asking you how you doing.
I think that's all right though. I think it's good to kind of just go straight into the convo sometimes.
Yeah. But well, I mean, the time to have an intro is still there. I just didn't put an intro in.
You didn't
So
put it in.
I don't know if we
That's
lost any listeners just based on the first part of it. Like, what is this? Is it missing? Um, but anyway, guys, we got I think a good episode for you today. JK, just wanted to check in real fast. What's coming up next for you?
Yeah, so I have got I've got a couple of different types of races coming up before Hyrox Melbourne in what is it? I think it's 8 weeks as of Friday. So I'm actually doing the first my first Deadly Dozen event next weekend on the 26th of October, which is exciting. If you haven't heard of Deadly Dozen, very similar hybrid style event to Hyrox. Oh, sorry, it's not similar at all. It's 12 stations, 12 runs. That's how it's similar, but the stations are very different. It's on an athletics track. So I've got that, and then I've got a 10K road race, and I'm going to do the weekend after. Um, so they're my two kind of next events coming up, Anthony. But I guess more importantly, and like full focus is still training and getting prepped for Melbourne, which again, as I just said, is crazy. It's only 8 weeks away on Friday.
Nice. Wow. Well, that is, yeah, 8 weeks from the 17th, which this episode, it could come out anywhere from the 16th to the 17th. So some of the things we're saying, it might be 8 weeks from the day you listen to this. Other things coming up, that means you are doing the Deadly Dozen. There are, guys, other events out there besides High Rocks.
Yeah.
We do, like JK just said, he's going to do a Deadly Dozen. I saw an event this past week out in Dublin. I don't remember the name of it, so I won't be able to call it out. But I saw that they are 8 runs and 8 stations. It's almost the exact same stations as High Rocks, just in a different order. It
Really?
it
Yeah.
ends with like I think sled dumbbell snatches or sled burpees, something like
Right.
that. But it's 800-meter runs, and I think there's a 400-meter run option.
Okay. Okay.
It
That's
was
interesting.
interesting,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh well, you could do it like that. I think
Yeah.
there's I think there's a lot of, and instead of wall balls, I think they had like ram thrusters. But obviously there's a ton of these events popping up. They're all over, and you guys, you can train similarly for most of them, all of them,
Yeah.
using the general fitness principles, the same threshold principles, all that stuff for each one of these. And there's great crossover. For
Yeah.
example, It's not the perfect prep, but I by now people would have seen that Lauren's doing the Lifetime Games, which is coming out, and
Mm.
that's going to start in the US. First race is going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So do you want to talk a little bit about
Yeah,
what that is?
I'd
Because I
love to.
just I just sent you the link. So
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what it's about. I'm assuming, Anthony, like it looks as if it's a little bit more of a, let's just say, functional fitness race rather than a running race. Would that be correct? There's minimal running.
right. So it says it's a hybrid event, and it is kind of. I think it definitely skews more towards bigger body, longer limb type of people, just because first off, the runs are all on the assault runner, and
Yep.
then there's the machines mixed in, and the weights are pretty variable. So the the bigger you are, it kind of lends towards that way, but it's still a functional fitness event, and it needs just a little bit more running, I think, to really balance it out. But I still think it's an awesome event because it's a choose your own adventure.
What do
So
you mean? What do you mean by
So by
that?
that, I mean the distances are set. So it starts station number one, 1,000-meter run for both men and women on a treadmill. And I believe I saw in their video that they use an assault runner elite. So an assault
Okay.
air runner elite. So one of those self-propelled treadmills for 1,000 meters.
Yep.
You get off the treadmill and you have to load your own barbell. But men have to lift 10,000 pounds and women have to lift 7,500 pounds. But it's up to you how you want to get there. So, for example, if you want to lift 10,000 pounds, JK, you could either do it by lifting 225 pounds, which is like 102 kilos, for
Yep.
45 reps, or you could lift 185 pounds for 55 reps, or you could lift 135 pounds for 75 reps, which is 60 kilos for 75 reps. Which weight would you go with on that? Would you
That's
go
cool. That's so
heavier weight,
that's
less reps, or lighter weight, more reps?
A couple of things. I think the first thing comes in my head due to the fact that it's the second station of the event. I'd probably want to make sure that I'm looking at not depleting myself by doing the 100 kilos. So I'd probably go the middle. I'd probably go, what is it? The 75 reps.
So
No, 60 reps.
185, 185 pounds, which is,
80
oh, what is
kilos.
that? That's 10, 30.
75 kilos.
It's like 85 kilos, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I'd probably do 85 kilos then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about 85 kilos, but you do it for 55 reps
Yep.
instead of what was it, 102 kilos for 45. So you have to do 10 more reps, but you get to do it at like 17 less kilos.
I think that's okay. I reckon I'd be okay. I'd probably choose that even though it's 10 more reps. Yeah.
And you don't want to do the 60 kilos for 75 reps.
No, I think just like if you think about it, the time domain of doing that would be an
20.
extra,
Yeah.
what, 20 would just be too much, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the strategy, right? Depending on who you are.
Yep.
All right. So once you get done with the deadlifts, you have to row for men 1,000 meters, women 750.
Hmm.
Okay. So you go run, deadlift, row. Then you go on to wall balls for the fourth station. So you get off the rower, you go to wall balls. You have to do 1,000 pounds of wall balls. Women have to do 750. So you could do the normal weight, 20 pounds to 50 reps, which is 9 kilos to 50 reps. You
Yeah.
could do 16 pounds to 63 reps. So you have 13 extra reps, but you could use a lighter ball. Or
Yeah.
you could do the 14 pounds, which is, what is that, 6 kilos by 72 reps. So right there, the difference, I'm, I mean, what would you be hitting there?
So there's no choice of a 12 kilogram ball, mate.
No, you can't go the heavier.
I'm only laughing because Anthony programs me 12 kilogram balls, wall balls. No, I'd definitely choose the 20 pound
Yeah.
50 reps.
The
Yeah.
extra reps aren't worth doing the lighter weight,
Yeah.
especially when you're
Correct.
so accustomed to the 20 pounder, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
After you do the wall balls, you got the skier. So it's 1,000 meters for men, 750 for women.
Yep.
Then you're on to the box jumps. You have to do 1,000 inches of box jump overs. Women have to do 750 inches. The options for you, JK, would you go 30 inches by 34 reps, 24 inches by 42 reps, or 20 inches by 50 reps?
Wow. Okay. So it's only eight more doing 24-inch.
Yeah.
I'd probably go the 24-inch.
Okay.
I'd probably go the 20. Yeah, I think so. I think the 32 at 30-inch would uh I might choose no, I'm gonna stick to my guns and go the 24-inch. 42 at
Okay.
24.
Okay. 42 reps at 24 inches. All right.
Yep.
Treadmill run, 600 meters this time for both men and
Yep.
women. Okay. And then you got to do barbell shoulder to overhead. You have to move 6,000 pounds barbell shoulder to overhead. Women have to move 4,500 pounds shoulder to overhead. Your options are going to be 135 pounds by 45 reps, 95 pounds by 64 reps, or 75 pounds by 80 reps. So that would be, do you want to do 60 kilos times 45 reps? Do you want to do
Hmm. 2 kilos.
43 kilos by 64 reps, or 35 kilos by 80 reps?
Uh the middle once again. I think I'd do the 43 kilos at 60 odd reps.
64 reps. So you're going to take
Yeah.
19 extra reps for 17 less kilos.
Yeah, I think so. And just quickly, the reason behind that is because I think I'd be able to get through the 19 extra reps like even like quicker, knowing my own ability by pressing compared to pressing a 60 kilogram bar. That's the reason.
Okay. Nice. So then you get up back on the rower. This time you have 600 meters, 450 for women. Now you got to hold a D ball up on your shoulder and do some box step overs. You have to hold a
Okay.
40-pound D ball, which is like 18 kilos,
18 kilos, yeah.
for 600 inches. You can do that 30 inches by 20 reps, 24 inches by 25 reps, or 20 inches by 30 reps. So it's five extra reps depending on which height you use.
I do not know if I could do a box step over at 30-inch.
I mean,
I
that's
don't think
part of
my
being
legs
like
would.
a taller person, right? If you were able to do that.
Exactly. I don't, well, especially with a ball, especially weighted. So I definitely choose the 25 reps at 24-inch.
Yeah. That's probably about the right one. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're a shorter athlete and but like you have really, really good conditioning, you're able to like bunny rabbit it, maybe do the 20 inches by 30 reps.
Yeah.
Um, if you could, but you'd really have to be a mover.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
And it would have to be like it'd have to be meaning that like if you're stepping up to 24 inches was just above your hip height, then it would only make sense
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
go that. All right. Then you would ski erg 600 meters, 450 for women, and you have to do burpee box jump overs. 600 inches for men, 450 inches for women. You have your options here, same thing, 30 inches by 20 reps, 24 inches by 25 reps, or 20 inches by 30 reps.
Now, this is one where I might actually choose the 30-inch
The box
because
jump overs, because the burpee adds time.
correct. And I don't want to do extra burpees. So, and I can jump a 30-inch. So I'd probably, yeah, that's my answer. I'd actually do the 30-inch for 20 reps only.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty smart one. I
Yeah.
agree. That'd be a good way to go. And then you're back on the treadmill running for 400 meters.
Hmm.
And then you got dumbbell ground to overhead. This is double dumbbell. All right.
Yep.
So 4,000 pounds using the double dumbbells, 3,000 for women. Can do 100 pounds by 40 reps. So that's 50 pounds in each hand, which is 22 and a half kilos.
Yeah.
You could do 70 pounds by 58 reps. So that's 35 pounds each hand, which is 16 kilos. Or you could do 50 pounds in each hand by 80 reps. And that's like, what is that, 11 or 12 kilos?
Nah, I like my 22.5 kilos. So I'd probably go the aggressive one there. Yeah.
The
I'd probably go the
aggressive one. You're
bigger
going
one.
with the big
Yeah.
boy weights.
Yeah, I'm going for the big boy weights for that one. Yep.
All right. Then we got the rower, 400 meters for men, 300 for women, followed by D-ball over shoulder. You have to accumulate 400 pounds of D-ball over the shoulder. So 40
Yep.
pound D-ball by 10 reps, 30 pound by 14, 20 pound by 20. Um, in terms of weight, that's 18 kilos, uh, 13 kilos, no, 14 kilos, or 9 kilos.
The middle, I think.
Middle. I would go the heavy one here. It's just one D ball, 10
Ac-
reps. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, no, yeah, I agree now.
Yeah.
Probably the
And,
heavy one.
and then it ends with a 200-meter run on the treadmill.
Okay. Okay.
Have you thought about maybe what the times are going through this?
No, I was about to ask you. I'm assuming in the ranges of like a 35 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think maybe some of the fastest people will probably be 36 and a half, 37 minutes to 42.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
If
and if anybody wants to watch, this is actually going to be live streamed. I don't know where
is
yet, but
it?
maybe I'll make a post of it. Yeah, well, one of
Please do, yeah.
their premiere heat will be live streamed. So I believe right now they've announced that like Alex Smith, uh, Jack Driscoll, and Lauren
Yeah.
will be in the premiere heats, and that'll be on Saturday, October 25th.
So Saturday, October 25th. Okay, cool. So our
Um,
Sunday.
I don't
That's
know.
cool.
Yeah, that'd be that Sunday for you. I don't know what time. I think it's like 2 or 3 o'clock Central time,
Yeah.
which is 2 hours ahead of me. So that would be if it's 2 o'clock, that means I'm at noon, which would be 5 a.m. for you.
Yeah, cool. I like
So
it.
probably around 5 or 6 a.m. for you. It would be streamed over there, and that's Australian Eastern time. Um, Noon for me, Central European time would be 9 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to
I like it.
watch, we'll figure it out how to like just keep looking at the socials and I'll share how to watch it once I figure that out.
That kind of talking about it, Anthony, it kind of poses a question, and we can answer it obviously in other like another recording. But if you were going to create your own hybrid fitness race, what would the race be?
Let's do that another time.
Yeah, for sure. But it's interesting because I've never thought about setting up a race like that where you actually have options to choose
Oh,
the
I
weights and the reps and stuff. That's all. I like it. I really like
so
it.
I used to when actually the place that Lauren and I met was at the gym Camp Rhino here in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I put on events for them sometimes when I was coaching there. I would put on things like the Rhino CrossFit Championships at Mr. Olympia. We would host our own thing. We called it the Rhino Rumble. Like I put on these different events, and one of the very first ones, the first couple ones that I actually put on, I always had a like choose your own adventure. This is how much weight you have to move type of event because I liked them. So
yeah,
one of the first events I put on, it was a doubles. It was like you had a pair of people, either male male or male female, or sorry, male male or female female. That was the pairs that you would work in. And I did one of the very first events. We were at a track at Las Vegas High School. We had brought out a rig, like a pull-up rig, and set it up at the track.
yeah.
And the event was a 1 mile relay. So you and your partner had to finish 1 mile. You could do 400s. You could have one person run the whole thing. You could hand off every 800 or every 400. Like you had to run 400 at a time though. Okay.
Yeah.
There were teams that were flying. I think there was one team that had a guy that was like a 440 miler and he just did it the whole mile by himself. And he took
Yeah.
like third or fourth though, because some of the relay teams just, they would go back and forth. Like you would run the first and the third lap and they were running like 65s. And so they would end up with like a 420 mile,
Yeah.
some of the fastest teams. But immediately after you finished your mile, you had there was a break. So there was like I think I'd put a 7 minute cap on the mile. So from 0 to 7, you would have to do your relay mile. And then at 7 minutes, starting at the 7 minute mark, you had a barbell and you could set up that barbell to whatever weight you wanted. And you would have uh, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, something for both of you to work back and forth. You got to pick your weight, and it's whoever moved the most weight from ground to overhead. You could snatch it, clean and jerk it, whatever, move the most weight within those 5 minutes. So people
Yeah.
could pick, like, oh, I'm going to go 225 and every rep is worth
Yeah.
225. Or you could go like 115 and be like, well, I can do 2 reps as fast as you can do 225. So I'm winning. Like,
Yeah.
and that was kind of the strategy. And I think the people that picked like 115 pounds, they were the ones that I believe won. But it was
Mm.
always interesting to me to see like
That's it.
what the
Yeah.
strategy
That's
was that people
cool.
would do. And I love doing events like that. And then yeah, I've always thought about doing an event where it's like, okay, let's measure the distance, and whoever has the greatest power output by moving how pick your weight the most amount
Yeah.
of distance in the least amount of time, greatest power output wins.
Yeah.
You know,
I
because
like it.
power would be force times distance over time. So
Yeah. I like it. I like it. I reckon maybe next week or the week after we'll have a podcast recording where we talk about our hybrid fitness race that we can create.
yeah, I like that. Let's do something like that.
Yeah.
I I actually have been thinking too that maybe I'll give this one a go. I probably am not going to be in Minnesota or Minneapolis. I think that's where it's at. Minneapolis to do the race, but I would try it here and see how I got along.
Well, hey, you might want to program it for me, mate.
Hey, if you want to try it, we'll do it. All right.
Okay.
So, anyway, guys, that was the first part of it. Like I said, there are a ton of other hybrid races out there, and not like to say anything, but you guys, you can pick multiples of them. There's so many, and they all serve different functions that are just fantastic. So, pick the ones you like to do and support them as much as you can.
For sure. For sure.
And the point of that is like the training that we do, guys, can get you prepared for all of these. It really can. Like fitness, especially when you train broad general fitness, it translates so well to all of these other events.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, Anthony. Like I think we're both very similar with our approach to programming and training for hybrid fitness because as you just said at the start of the recording, like we're both very confident with the approach of general fitness, general physical preparation that can translate to, you know, a Hyrox can translate to a half marathon, a marathon, a 10K can translate to an event like this that Lauren's doing, can translate to Deadly Dozen, can translate to DecaFit, etc., etc. So, um, yeah, there's some specific stuff that you can touch on, like leading into a specific race, sure, but year round, it's the general principles that matter, right? Um, so yeah.
Nice. All right, guys. The rest of this episode, we're going to talk and answer questions now. So we got quite a few, JK. I have at least let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We got almost 15 questions in the last like 3 weeks. Questions and
Yep.
comments that I'm gonna be going through. So we'll go through a couple of them. Um, Starting with one that came through on email from a sometimes I say people's names, sometimes I don't. I'll just Michael Drinkwater. I appreciate this message, and he has multiple questions here, so I'd like to get to reading through them, JK.
Yep.
So he addresses you a little bit in this.
Cool.
Let's go. Hi, Anthony. I love the podcast and listen to it every week. For me, episode 68 was the best by far. When listening to all the previous threshold sessions, I understood the difference between aerobic threshold and anaerobic threshold, but when I heard you talking about just threshold, it sounded as if you always spoke about LT2. This threshold episode broke down the LT1 versus LT2 threshold so well, and I didn't realize you spoke about LT1 so much, so I have to go back and listen to your previous threshold episodes again. I found it hard to understand how JK was following the 80-20 principle when he was doing double thresholds 2 to 3 times a week, but understanding a lot of those were LT1 sessions now makes sense. Yeah, guys, we stay at that aerobic threshold a lot. Um, the episode after talking about travel and JK getting the leg tingles and swelling on long flights, he needs to get travel socks. I didn't think they were so good until my fiance wore a pair to Europe and couldn't stop raving about them. So I wore them on the return leg. They are game changers and completely stop the leg swelling and tingles. You have to look into those, JK.
Yeah, I definitely do actually.
I have a few hypothetical questions that could be good for discussion on a podcast. Number one, could any of the Elite 15 athletes, if they did a half high rocks, example, every run, station, and rock zone is exactly half, could they break 25 minutes? And if so, does this mean someone could break 50 minutes on a full high rocks soon? We're going to start with that question and then I'll read the other two he has.
I think without going into the like numbers, I think yes to breaking 25 minutes for the half. I think no to breaking 50 minutes on a full high rocks. And a big if it's a proper high rocks with the very similar it's 8.7 kilometers of running and whatnot. So it'd be interesting to do a proper half high rocks where you're doing half the stations, half the running. And I think you could break 25 minutes, but I think it's still years away, if not, I like cracking a 50-minute high rocks solo, I think is still years away.
So I tried to break it down, JK, and I think you're right that like I believe somebody could break 25 minutes and a half high rocks. The difference is extending that to a 50-minute high rocks, I think is just it's the exact same. It's like the principle of you can break an hour in the half marathon, but why can't anybody break 2 hours in the marathon?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
There's just that deterioration of it. So I broke it down and I tried to imagine, all right, if we did half the amount of time on all your stations that you've done in a race, JK, and then we took off like 3 or 4 seconds for each of them as well, because you can expend a little bit more energy, right? And then had you run your normal pace, but for 500 meters
Yeah.
instead, where would that put you? And I did that quick math here. Basically, I have you would be spending 11 minutes, 27 seconds at the stations and 13 minutes, 36 seconds on the run. So you would be doing 25:03 just that
Yeah.
way. So I
Yeah.
think
Right.
I think half of it, yeah, you could break 25 minutes if you went for
Yeah.
it. If we did a half high rocks where everything was just half the distance, half the running.
Yeah.
Extending that to 50 minutes, I don't think the same rate can be held. I think there's just
Yeah.
that little extension, that uh, longer duration on each one of these things. There's just that little bit more breakdown. I don't think 50 minutes is going to happen. Maybe somebody gets in the next by 2030, maybe somebody can hit like 52:30.
Mm.
You know, Alex has shown that even at the open weights, the fastest anybody has gone, it's the longest standing world record right now, is like 50:38.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, you got to look at the open world records, especially ones that have been run by elites. Those are kind of the caps on what the pro race should be able to do,
Yeah,
because
for
that's
sure.
almost optimal, right? So
Yeah.
I don't see the men's pro record going any lower than 50:38 within the next like 5, 10 years. Uh, maybe in the future when it's really far down the road and there's some other technological improvement or a change in the equipment of something or how they approach it. But for right now, we're looking at 52:30 is probably pretty close to the limits of what the men's pro could be able to do, which is crazy
Yeah.
to think about 45 seconds off of Ronkovic's time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's crazy now, hey. And I think the if we want to look at all right, Alex Ronkovic's time of 2 weeks ago, um, versus doing a 52:30, as you said, like that can be like more so the setup of the race as well, right? Like the actual structure, sorry, not the structure, but the actual setup of a race can dictate, I'm not going to say like minutes, but it can help or hinder a specific time. So, just an example, the more 90 degrees turns you have or 180-degree turns you have, the more times you slow down, right? So, limiting the turns would be helpful with that. But yeah, it's an interesting question. I'd be eager to find out if I could crack that 25-minute half high rocks at some point. But yeah, I agree with you with respect to the full high rocks, the full race.
All right. How about his next question here? The nose strips everyone wears. I understand the point of them when sleeping at low intensity training, but at high intensity, like a high rocks race, I don't understand the benefit of them given they will be mouth breathing at high intensity. Do
So
you do you
I've
mouth breathe?
used, well, like the answer is yes, like of course, like at a higher intensity where obviously mouth breathing a lot more, right? In my opinion, and you could call it placebo or not, it doesn't matter, but I enjoyed my zone 8 nose strips because it does allow a lot more airflow in my nostrils. Whether or not they actually work to help my performance, like I'd have to do a proper test where I test without them and test with them and see if I benefit from them. But I personally think they help. I think like the one thing about nose strips that I've worked out lately, working with zone 8 breathing, is that like the actual way you put them on is more important than actually like anything, because I think a lot of people put them on a lot um, closer to your nostrils than what you need. And I think, closer to your the top of your nostrils than what you need. And the most important thing is to make sure that you're actually putting them on correctly so it actually allows you to open up your airways there. So, um, what's your thoughts on them, Anthony?
I think it only helps. You may be mouth breathing, but I don't think you are. It's not like you're mouth breathing at 100-meter sprint intensity. You're not zone 5, like all out intensity in these races. Yes, it's high intensity. You're going hard, but having when you breathe in that extra airway, like basically open, you can bring in the amount of oxygen that you
Right.
inhale, whether it's through your nose, mouth, and or both,
Yeah.
keeping it open. So I think both of them help. Is it placebo? Maybe. Uh,
Yeah.
but what what is the problem with having more oxygen coming into your body?
Exactly. Yeah, there's no option. And also placebo is great anyway, right? So
Like we said, it's
like
everything has to be aerobic, which means oxygen, which means the more oxygen you can get in, the better your aerobic system is going to work.
exactly. Yep.
Um,
Agreed.
all right. Last of his three questions. If a high rocks race was done in reverse, example, wall balls to lunges to farmers, etc., how much harder would it be? What times would you think Elite 15 athletes would get?
Um, it's very interesting. Uh, I think your difference of 100 let's just go like the difference of 100 wall balls if you're well trained at the start versus at the end of a race isn't that different. I think the difference of a sled push at the end of the race versus at the start is different.
Yeah.
So those are two examples of me kind of coming to the conclusion that I think it would be actually we'd be slightly slower, but maybe only by a minute or so, not that much, like not like overall, I don't think we'd be like too much slower, but then again, right, the middle of the race is the middle of the race anyway. And I put that down from the sled pull, burpees, row, farmers. Like to me, it doesn't necessarily, oh, I don't know. My answer to that is like we'd be slightly slower if we did it in reverse, maybe by 30 seconds to a minute.
You think so?
Yep.
I thought, no way, you guys are going to be faster going the opposite direction.
Oh, debate. Here we go. Why? Why do you
So,
think?
fresh wall balls, even coming off 100, is not as bad as coming off a hard sled push. So, you're still going to be able to run. You're going to be maintaining your run. You have the lunges, yeah, your legs are going to get tired, but then you got the short station of the farmer carry. The farmer carry is not after another grip, which would be like the row. So you're not going like grip to grip. You're going first grip into, yeah, it might be hard to hold the rower, but you're still going to maintain. I'd say the rower is probably the same pace you're going to want to maintain. You're not going to change how much or how fast you're going there. Burpees, similar thing, about the same fatigue level at that point in the race, except for the sleds. The sleds here, instead of being conservative and trying to like push to not blow up, there's no risk in being like, I want to push this station 7 sled push as hard as I can because
Yeah.
as soon as that station's done, I run ski run and I'm done, right? So if I run ski run, imagine coming off that sled push and being like, I'm home free. I just have maybe 10 to 11 minutes of cardio ahead of me. Like
Yeah,
you're going to
true.
be hammering that skier way harder. You're going to be hammering those last couple runs pretty hard and like you could risk something on this on the sled push.
I don't think I'd be able to ski faster than at the end of the race, faster than I do at the start of the race. So
I do. I think
really,
yeah, because you already know it. Like you're skiing between 145 and 147, right?
yeah,
Like that's our we know this is the pace you can maintain so you don't blow up too early. That's that kind of pace that is. Like imagine if I don't have that restriction on you and it's like, JK, you're in a battle because you're not going to want to give up what 8 to 10 seconds on the last station before the final run. Like you're gonna be like, I can go all out because as soon as this 1,000 meters is done, I'm hitting that last run and it's a sprint to the finish line.
mm,
I think it changes how fast the end of the race could be.
true. But then also, I think like that. I think a lot of people could blow up after that
I think a
push.
lot of people would blow up,
Could
but
blow up. Yeah.
right now it's you kind of manage those first three stations. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people manage those first three stations. When those first three stations are get the leg stuff out of the way, wall balls, lunges, farmer carry, like, I
Yeah.
mean, you got nothing to lose now.
I do like the idea of finishing off with that 1,000 meter run as well. See how fast you can run that last split.
Yeah, I think you guys are going 60 to 90 seconds faster doing it in reverse.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
It'd be interesting to see, right? It'd be interesting to actually do it.
yep. He finishes off his email here. Anyway, love the podcast and the way you explain things. So thanks for being a legend. Keep it up. Regards, Michael. Thank you. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Michael.
those messages.
Hmm. For sure.
Okay. All right, let's go into the next one. This one's just a comment. Oh, it does have a question at the end. This was after the Hamburg episode. I thought JK was going to crash the world record. No worries, you'll get it next time, mate. Keep grinding. It was clear you didn't have your best day. Huge shout out to Lauren and Vivian. Lauren, even on an off day, your execution and gap closing runs were amazing. Honestly, if Joanna or Vivian paused on the wall balls, you would have won. Vivian and Lauren, well done. Anthony needs to get them on this podcast. That 209 sled push from Vivian was flying. She earned that spot. What is the take home of the team performance? Well, if they're asking me what the take home is, I think everybody did amazing. We obviously would have really liked JK to have qualified. He had an amazing finish in fourth there, and especially after the first part of the race where JK, you were hovering fifth to seventh place for a lot of the race, and then closed down just the way just the way you have. You've shown you belong, right? Which is one of the first things we cleaned up in your race was how you close it. Now,
Yeah.
we just had this conversation, JK and I. We prepared very similarly in this race of Hamburg, the same way we did for Amsterdam last year. Build as broad, aerobic threshold level, uh, hit broad general fitness. I don't think I don't think he was any less fit, had an off day or anything. The only difference was that I think people wanted and were more prepared for this race than they were last year.
Right.
And
Exactly.
on that, I believe, JK, we talked about it. The biggest difference was really just two big stimuluses that we did last year that we didn't do this year. And
Yeah.
now we're taking that into Hong Kong along with hey, now here's how we're adjusting the same type of way. I don't think anything's different because in my eyes, guys, it doesn't matter if you qualify in the first one or the last one. All it matters is being
It's
in that
there.
race
Yeah.
at World Championships.
Yeah. 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 And
So,
I totally agree. Yeah.
so the take home from the team is, hey, we got Lauren and Vivian qualified individually. We got JK and Lauren Griffith all qualified in doubles. Like that is a fantastic weekend. That's already four spots taken up when there's only 12 people. Well, 12 people or teams that are qualified for elite, and we have one third of that.
Yeah.
Like that's
That's true.
already fantastic. And
Yeah.
I know going into the next race, we have, others that are going to be aiming for those spots, people that are going to be getting their first chances at the Elite 15
Yep.
solo. JK is going to be racing on like basically 2 hours from his house. Like
Hmm.
I'm real excited to
Yeah.
to know that the next race we're just going to keep it rolling, and the goal is obviously to keep that rolling through Melbourne and Phoenix and DC, Brisbane, London, and Warsaw until we finally reach World Championships where we're going to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just from my end, but kudos to like again, like just quickly, kudos to Alex Dillon and Hide who have already like raised the bar for the year on the men's side, right? So like still doing a sub 55 minute race in Hamburg. Like I'm pretty proud of that to start the season. And I know for a fact that Hamburg and not qualifying over there, it won't matter in the end, as you said, Anthony, because it doesn't matter where you qualify. Um, and I said this to Georgie the other day, right? It's funny, like the Hyrox Elite structure is interesting. As soon as you get a spot, as soon as you get your chance in a major, you've got the same amount of chance to get your qualifying spot than anyone else. Like it's myself who's got an auto qualifying position for the all majors this year, has the same amount of chance of anyone else who's actually racing in the majors, right? Like, and it's more about your ability to, if you have a chance, like, to really take it. And we just briefly, we just spoke about, the actual 15 men who line up in Melbourne might be very different to the 15 men that that lined up in Hamburg. And hey, like, if you're one of them, like, you've got the same amount of chance to get that spot than anyone out there, so which makes it exciting as well. So yeah, no, it was a great start to the year.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fantastic start, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. We'll see the team I'm excited for. And that makes me think of too, like originally Hyrox was called the World Series of Fitness Racing. So what if it mattered consistency over the year? Like JK, think about your last year. You went 2-1, 4-1, 4. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we got to look at the year as a whole. Fourth place is nothing to sneeze at. And getting back on the podium every single time is obviously the goal.
yeah, exactly.
So let's look at the next one. Um, Love the content. Can you share an example of an LT1 threshold workout and an LT2 workout? Yeah. So, guys, the workouts could be exactly the same. It's what pace
Yeah.
you run it at. So, example of a workout would be like, say, I want to get 30 minutes of at threshold, whichever threshold it is. You want to get 30 minutes of it. And you would say like 15-minute warm up or whatever, 15, 20-minute warm up, then go into 6 sets of 5 minutes on 1 minute rest. And you run it at either your LT1 or your LT2. You could do it that
Mhm.
way. If you don't like time based, you could say, you know, maybe 7 to 8 kilometers worth of 800-meter at a time. So what would that be? That'd be like 10 sets of 800 meters on 60 seconds rest
Yeah.
at your LT2 or your LT1. So those are just a couple
Yeah.
different varieties of how you could approach it. But guys, the main point here is you're running either your LT1 or your LT2 for every single interval. You're not cutting down, right? 5K
No.
pace is not threshold. 10K pace is debatable, but you're running the same pace and it's going to feel easy the first few, and then you are running that throughout all of them, not
Yeah.
just not not doing a cut down workout where you start at, oh, what was it, you know, way below threshold. Or somebody's like, oh, do your half marathon pace and then like go 3 seconds faster or 6 seconds faster and like keep cutting down. That's not going to be your threshold. All right. Stay the same
That's
pace.
not a threshold. That's not a threshold workout
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. Go the
Yeah.
same pace. So if your average half marathon pace is 4 minutes per kilometer, and I tell you to run 6 by 5 minutes with 1 minute rest in between, standing rest, not float, not jogging, uh, the standing rest. If that's what it is, you run every single one of those 5 minute intervals at 4 minute per kilometer pace.
And I think the biggest thing to hint here is no matter how you feel.
Yep.
Sorry, I should actually preface
Oh,
that. Like, if you actually are feeling tired from the day before and you're actually struggling to hit the pace across the 5 minute interval. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to actually slow down the pace, but there's no point going faster.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned, like there's multiple threshold sessions that I've done over the last 18 months where I feel great. I feel like I could run for days. But that's the point. And
Right.
knowing you finish the session, and I remember you saying this to me probably within the first month of working together, Anthony, that you've aced the threshold session if you've finished, and you could probably do two more sets. You could
Yeah.
probably do two more sets. That's a perfect threshold session. So
I think of like, yeah, what you're going to be running is comfortably hard, like on the verge of being uncomfortable, but it's always like this was hard, but it wasn't like I'm not dead on the floor afterwards,
exactly.
you
Yep.
know? All right. So the next one, I don't know how much time you have, JK. It is, I believe, the end of the time you told me we
Um,
have. I can read one or two
about
more
five
though.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. So this one's quick. JK, 1st of October is the International Coffee Day. How did you celebrate?
It's good. Oh wow. I must not be a coffee critic, coffee snob because I didn't know that. I did not know that. Thank you
That would have
for
been 2 weeks ago well, actually for you, it's 2 weeks ago from now, which would have been
yeah.
2 days before the major. Did you drink
Yeah,
coffee two
okay.
days before the major?
I did, yeah. I was lucky that Georgie for my birthday about a month ago now bought me like um four different types of beans that I traveled with. I also traveled with my little grinder and my V60 pour over. So that day I would have had a lovely pour over coffee in the morning. Thank you to Georgie. Um, there you go. I didn't realize there's a coffee day. What is it like? International Coffee Day.
International Coffee Day, October
Yeah,
1st.
October 1st. There you go.
All right. One, two. We got about six left, seven left. Let's do one more and we'll have a couple minutes. So, guys, what do you think someone like a younger athlete, like a student or a busy professional or a group age athlete, or anyone else who wants to be serious but cannot or doesn't want to be a professional athlete, or simply cannot sustain for any reason 2 training sessions a day? Should that person structure his or her week and threshold training, and then the threshold sessions should be L1 or L2?
Wow. Okay.
So I would say
What's the first question? Like,
it's
yeah.
better to do one threshold session than not to do any. So
Yep.
2 or 3 times a week, you could do it very simply Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Yep.
Hit, two L1 sessions and then an L2 session.
Yep.
Uh, don't have to be both in the same day. It's like we've said before, like it's better to do something than nothing. It's better to do one of them than it is to not do either. So do one of
Yeah.
them. That's the
Yep.
first thing. If you want, like, if you only have an hour or one session, hour and a half, do your first threshold session. Maybe it's running, takes you with a warm up and then 30 minutes of work. So probably like 50 minutes. You got 40 minutes left. Take a short break, move around, hit some lunges, some burpees, like that type of movement. Maybe get your machines in or get a mixed modality machine work in for at another threshold and get you more time in that zone. And you could all finish it within 90 minutes.
Agreed. There is no point doing a double threshold day. So let's just call it an AM threshold running session and then a PM machine threshold session if you won't be able to recover for the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, like split it up, um, and do AM threshold Tuesday, AM threshold Thursday, AM threshold Saturday, so that you can get more work in on Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
It's the consistency across the week that matters, not the day of doing one double threshold. It's the three threshold sessions per week accumulating over the span of a month, the span of 6 months, the span of a year.
Yeah. It's time, guys. Consistency over time. It's not an immediate pill. It's not going to just get you fit right away. It's literally, JK, I mean, you're approaching 2 years of
Mm.
threshold. And guys, they ask LT1 or LT2, that is per person, and it depends on how you measure it. If if your LT1 is outside of 10% almost of your LT2, you probably need to bring it up before you work anything up here, right?
That's good to kind of measure, right? Do you think it's 10%?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's most commonly thrown around. I would say it's probably around 10%, but it doesn't hurt to just build your LT1, and then when you
Yeah.
feel more comfortable, 2 sessions LT1, 1 session LT2. Do it
Yeah.
like that for a while.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah.
So, all right, JK, I am going to delete that one now. And do you have
Thank you.
anything you want to add today?
No, thank you though, Anthony. And thank you for all the questions. Keep them coming, listeners. We appreciate the questions and listening to our podcast. Once again, like if you ever want to reach out, anything about coaching or anything at all, jk.james.kelly on Instagram.
Yep. And guys, if you want to reach out, you can look at it on Instagram at the Hybrid Engine, or you could even email us or me at thehybridengine@gmail.com.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. If you'd like to reach out and get in contact with us, you can email the Hybrid Coaching Podcast at gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram either at the Hybrid Engine or at jk.jameskelly. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.